Hello everyone, I'm Rachel and you're listening to Let's Talk Avatar. This is a watch through of The Legend of Korra. Isaac and I will be discussing each episode and giving our opinions on it. Just as a reminder, this podcast does contain spoilers for The Legend of Korra. This is a teen-rated podcast, so listener discretion is advised. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Talk Avatar. My name is Rachel.
And my name is Isaac.
And today we're going to be discussing episode 5 of season 3 of The Legend of Korra, which is titled...
The Metal Clan.
Ooh.
This is where we get to see Zaofu, which is honestly my favorite city in all of the Avatar universe.
Really?
Yeah, like it's literally the creative hub of the world.
Yeah, I feel like that would be your favorite place. I don't even know what my favorite part of like the Avatar universe would be my favorite. This episode is pretty... how would you describe it? It's kind of like...
I would say it's pretty steady.
It's steady. Yeah, it's laid back, but still has some action to it, you know? It's not, we're overwhelming, but it's not boring. It's in the middle.
We're still in the introduction to season 3.
Yeah.
So, while we already have other people, with their own agendas going on, we're still introducing other things, so I get it. I liked it.
I did too.
Right off the bat, Lin was like, don't tell anyone I'm here. I'm just trying to get in, get out. Quick thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang.
Poor Naga. She freaking, punctures Naga's ball. And I'm like, that's me.
Didn't even see that. Honestly, I don't really care about Naga or Pabu, to be honest.
Wow.
They're just not as,
Yeah, Korra does not focus on animals as much as ATLA did, You care for Appa and Momo a lot, but Pabu and Naga, you don't really, after the first season, you really don't care about them. They don't really make them a focus.
I get it because Korra's more towards teenagers to young adults, so it'd be weird if they just
they just did a whole episode. Yeah.
But yeah. One of the first things on my notes is beautiful city. I think Zaofu is so fun creative, and I wonder how easy it was to build the city since it is made out of metal. You think all the metal benders got together and were like, today we're building the capital, today we're building the main mansion, whatever.
Probably. You know what I really admire about it is the way that each part of the city is in its own lotus, like a lotus flower.
Yeah.
It's very, like you said, creative and... what's the word? Uniform, but yet creative. It's
very innovative.
Yeah.
For the way, the way it closes up at night.
I would feel extremely safe to be there. Which later in the episode, Sue mentions that it is the safest city in the entire
apparently
Avatar world. But we know that's not true. I mean, it is probably the safest.
No. Yeah, probably.
It's the safest, but it's not safe from everything or everyone.
Yeah, nothing is truly 100% safe. Zahir is with the airbenders?
Yeah, that was weird.
That was creepy.
All of a sudden, he's just like, hey, I just got airbending all of a sudden.
You know who he makes me think of? The big guy in that really popular anime movie, Perfect Blue. He reminds me of that, I don't know, that I don't want to say Down syndrome, I think, character in that movie that tries to kill the main character multiple times.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
He reminds me of that. Anytime he's around, I get the same vibe I do from that character in Perfect Blue. It's just creepy. Also, how did nobody think anything of him?
Well, you could tell Kaya is even from the moment she sees him, it doesn't sit well with her,
Yeah,
but how does it all of a sudden click later on? She's here. Yeah. It's okay, why didn't you do that when you first saw him?
Exactly. The concept artist, okay, going back to the city design, I just know the concept artist had a really fun time making this city because of, like you said, the lotus flower and then the mountains in the background and the train system. Speaking of train system, Varric.
Yeah, all of a sudden Varric's there.
When he pops up, I'm like, oh my god.
They find every way possible to incorporate Varric from season 2 till season 4, you know, like...
Which I'm not mad about, because Varric is like my favorite comedic relief in all of Avatar, probably.
In all of Avatar?
Yeah, he's funny.
He is funny.
And also he's like a criminal.
And he is like genius.
But
what's that like? What do people say that supposedly, or is this what we talked about where we thought that he could be like Sokka? He reminds us of Sokka in that way.
Yeah,
like he's
and he's
an inventor, extremely smart inventor, but still really funny. You know.
I think he's from the Water Tribe too.
Yeah, I think he is. He conforms to wherever he's at. So
yeah,
I really don't know what he is.
He's really good at, like, I feel like he's like a master narcissist. Like,
oh, yeah. He is the most narcissistic person in that show.
Yeah. Suyin has a lot. She got a lot of kids.
Yeah, 5 of them.
The art hoe.
Yeah.
When they show up and they're like, cool.
Don't really know what therapy.
They're like, don't really know what this is, but I guess it's cool. And he's like,
no, Bolin's like, it's a banana, right? And he's like, no, it's harmonic convergence. Can't you tell? And he's like, yeah. And he looks at Mako and Asami's like, it's a banana.
Cringe. Opal's awkward as fuck. That's all I gotta say.
She's awkward, but not, you know, like, she's just a teenage girl that has a crush on, you know, like, someone. And so I feel like she's the most normal out of her whole family, you know?
Yeah. And then there's a scene where Mako and Bolin are, like, getting ready in the bathroom. And Mako's like, I feel like you should go after Opal. And Bolin's like, not really my type. So cringy.
Yeah.
Like, don't pretend like you weren't already trying to get at that.
Like, come on, Bolin. You haven't had good relationships so far. And this girl's interested. You don't know she's interested.
Yeah, and then within like 10 seconds, he switches and he's like,
and then
you know what?
Like,
maybe
you're
maybe
creeping
she
me
is.
Out. Bye.
Yeah. Suyin, when she's talking about her backstory, her life.
Yeah.
She joined the traveling circus, then settled down in a sandbender colony, and then after that, she figured out what she wanted to do with her life and made that city, Zhaofu.
Yeah.
How freaking cool is that? All within the Earth Kingdom.
It is really cool. I can't really remember all the details, but obviously, like, her and Lin don't talk, and it's mainly on Lin's part because Sue's tried to reconcile with her. And I guess my thing is, like, the whole backstory they have with each other, you're expecting it to be a lot worse because, like, you haven't talked in 30 years. This has to be bad. And then when you hear it, it's kind of underwhelming. We don't hear it in this episode, but it's still just like, ugh.
But it makes sense because they are Toph's daughters. So,
yeah.
like...
Well, and it makes sense, you know, when Sue says, our mom grew up in a strict home, so she gave us all the freedom in the world. You know, and they fought for her attention. And I just imagine, like, Toph was not a good mom. We already know that, but, like, you know that from the way she was as a kid.
Yeah. Towards the end, when Zahir is, like, in Tenzin's room looking at little trinkets, and then he's like, enter the void, become wind. And then Iki's like, what the fuck are you doing in my dad's room?
And then Kaya shows up and doesn't even... At first, it's just kind of like, where are you from? And then it's finally like, Zahir. Okay, I want to mention something about this part because it really bothers me. And it's not just Avatar that does this. A lot of different movies, cartoons, shows, like, it goes along the entire spectrum. I absolutely hate when a bad guy shows up and they totally annihilate the good guy. I'm thinking, like, okay, Kaya and Zahir are probably the same age, right? Kaya's been trained by the best waterbender in the entire world, like Katara. She was raised by Katara. And yet Zahir's able to take her out and the other firebenders out instantly.
But it makes sense to me because just because you're trained by the best doesn't mean you have the same skill or the same opportunity to be as good as that person that's training you.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, it sucks every single time you see it in shows that, like, the good guy always gets trampled at first.
But we're forgetting...
And you know they're going to win eventually, but it still bothers me.
Literally last episode when...
It happened last episode with Zuko and
but listen,
all of them. I'm like...
the backstory of them, when literally Zuko, Tonraq, Sokka, all these people literally had to fight one person to lock them up.
Not one person. It
Or
was
is
all
the
of
red...
them. The Red
Yeah.
Lotus.
So if that, like, if they're that powerful then, and they've probably been training in their cell like Zahir has.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I would like to see more, like, effort put forth, or, like, the good guy being able to, like, show skills and, like, dodge, because they
Yeah.
never even dodge. Like,
Also,
it's just them. They get a few hits on, like, Kaya got a few hits on Zahir, and then, like, every time he fought back, she got, like, taken down. She doesn't even dodge it. It's like, she doesn't necessarily have to win the fight. I just want to know that she could withstand her own if she really tried.
I think she held her own pretty well.
Well, I think she did a good job. I think that I wish they would have shown more of that, you know?
One thing I thought was kind of fud up in that whole fight is towards the middle of it, and she's like, I need help. Literally the only people that show up are the White Lotus people, and we already know they're not they're not even as good as the airbending kid. So
yeah.
Like I was just like,
but I
wow.
mean, he left. So, did he just need that little, like, pendant? Is that was the only thing he was looking for?
I guess. Also, like...
And the location of everyone, right? I think that's really what he's trying to figure out.
But that, and why did he need the trinket? It's just... The placement of that trinket and why he was in that room to get that specifically was just kind of out of place to me. It just felt kind of like, I don't know... What is that word? Like, it's perfectly placed there.
Like a plot device?
Yeah, like a perfect example of a plot device.
Yeah.
But it lets you know that, like, what he's about and what he's trying to do, which is get rid of all of his earthly tethers, Pali.
They actually help him with that.
Oh, wait, that's in a way later episode, but...
He actually gets assistance with letting go of his earthly tethers.
Lynn is a bitter lady, but you can tell that it's fun getting to her.
Obviously, I guess to me what was really upsetting is, she's treating Opal like she did Cora in the beginning, you know, and she shuts everyone out. And I was hoping that after the first season that she would be just a little more understanding. And like when Opal approached her, especially, I also thought it was really, really messed up of Cora to have Opal go in there with knowing the potential that Lynn can go off on that. And Opal's a teenager. She's loved her aunt, all these stories, wants to get to know her, and then is completely hurt by her. Yeah. And Cora's the one that caused it.
It was so funny, I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
Like, why would you send her in there knowing? And then
that she could blow up on her.
And then after that, Cora's like, I sent her in here because of this. And it's like, Cora, you should have known.
But
like,
Cora is still a teenager too. She's still really immature, and the decisions she makes aren't always the best.
It's just sad to see Lynn blow up on Opal like that, because Opal...
She's so innocent.
From all the characters we've seen, she's the most innocent.
The most innocent and, like, kind-hearted feeling. You know, when you hear her talk, or just her... They do a really good job. I think Alison Stoner is who voices her.
Really?
Yeah. She did an amazing job putting that presence forth. Like, you get that sense from her character.
I like the costume designs a lot. They all kind of look the same, but they're all different, like completely different in terms of like shape and style.
Wasn't it cool in the beginning when you meet Sue and they're doing that dance kind of thing?
Yeah,
like, I thought
but then we also see Kuvira doing that pose with that one girl at the end.
Oh, that was Kuvira?
With the ponytail?
I didn't even notice.
Foreshadow.
I didn't even notice. Didn't even notice.
That's all I really have for this episode.
Yeah.
It was just kind of, I loved it, don't get me wrong, but it was like we said in the beginning, it's a very steady episode. It's just like what you see is what is happening. And
yeah, it's very basic, I guess. Like I said, it's not boring, but it's not super entertaining, so it's right in the middle. So there's not really a lot to like digest, I guess. You meet the main part of it is you're just meeting Lynn's sister and her family.
One thing about this episode, though, I want to talk about a little bit is okay, so the animation is really, really, really good for the first like 2 minutes, and then it's mediocre in between, and then the last 2 minutes is really good again, which is weird to me, at least. Like when they zoom in on Lynn right before Opal shows up, like the animation for that is for some reason like 2 frames really, really, really good. And also when they do the like parallaxing view of Airbending Island or Jiaofu in the beginning, it's like really, really good. So you're going into it thinking that the whole episode's just going to be like this great masterpiece, which I'm fine with it not being, obviously, but it's like, I don't know. To me, that's weird when they do that. I get it's like budget costs and stuff like that, but it felt kind of out of place some areas.
I don't really notice stuff like every so often I notice small things or I might notice it a little bit, but you have more of an eye for that than I do anyway, so it makes sense that you would pick that out.
Especially with Opal and Suyin. And I don't know if it's just because that's like the first time the animators like have drawn them or whatever, but it was just like
I think that if Bolin and Opal continued like in the I haven't read the Korra comics, but if they did continue together or like that relationship stuck, which I hope it does, I think they would make such beautiful babies. Both like piercing green eyes, and she's an airbender now, and he's air, and then he's an earth. Like, I just feel like their kids would be super cute.
And weird. Strong.
Yeah.
I'm thinking ahead of Opal in season 4 and how she helps Korra against Kuvira. Like,
yeah.
I just want to get to season 4 already.
I just want to get to the end of season 3 and watch like the battle between. There's like that ending battle, but there's so much that leads up before that battle.
There's like 20 battles.
Yeah, literally. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the end of season 3, and then I'm looking forward to season 4.
Yeah.
It's hard just to watch one episode, you know? Like, I've been watching this other show, so I was like, I don't want to really watch Korra today. Like, I want to, but I want to watch this other show. Hooked. Yeah, and then I was like, I'm just going to watch it, and I put it on, and then I'm like, okay, well, I want to keep watching it now, but I have to stop myself.
Yeah, season 3, every episode I watch is like reminding me how good it is, and I think it might be my favorite season.
It is proving to be like my favorite season so far too.
There's just so much going on and so much awesome plot lines.
Yeah, and like in this episode, this was probably the most boring episode, and it wasn't even boring.
Yeah, you know, there was still information, still stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like they literally went to Xiaofu for the first time.
Every episode, it has something that keeps you entertained. You know, there's nothing where you're really like, ugh, this is boring, you know? Well, I guess when they go to like the Earth Queen, the Earth Kingdom, you know?
Even that was kind of fun if you
there's parts of it though, but season 3 compared to season 1 and 2 has yet to have an episode where I'm like the Sting.
Oh my, I don't
think any season has an episode, season 2 has the worst boring episodes.
Yeah. I don't remember if there's any in season 4, but
I don't remember either. Season 3 and 4, maybe it's because I've watched season 1 and 2 so many times and just like never finished 3 and 4 that I've finished 3 and 4 a few times, but I think I've watched 1 and 2 a whole lot more than 3 and 4, you know? Yeah. So I just remember things from those seasons so much more, which is kind of nice when you rewatch it because then it's like you're experiencing some of it for the first time. Or you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that happens. Especially big moments because then it gives you that excitement all over again.
Well, season 3 and 4 kind of blend together.
Yeah.
They might as well
lead in right after another.
Yeah, they might as well just be one big season, but there is that time skip that we need to have happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like 4 years, right?
Yeah. And Korra's still poisoned, but that's way ahead of what episode we're on. Anyways, I am Isaac.
I'm Rachel.
And we will see you next week with another episode of Let's Talk Avatar.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You can find us on our website at nonessentialmedia.com, on Twitter at Let's Avatar, and on Instagram at Let's Talk Avatar. Join us next week for another episode. And as always, thank you so much for all your support.